Hi everyone, it's Larissa. So the chapter talked about standardized tests and the different tests there, such as measuring abilities, achievements, personality, interests, aptitudes, that sort of thing. And I guess for me, I didn't ever really stop to think about what kind of tests were out there. Like obviously they're there, and I know that, but I just never really thought about it until reading the chapter. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So something that I connected on was how infants are measured by developmental progress, with cognitive, language, motor, and social skills and developments. And some of them are done right at the hospital, right away when they're born, such as the APGAR. And that's something I experienced just a couple months ago. So with that, they check the baby at 1 and 5 minutes to just kind of monitor their health, see how they're doing. They have to get a score out of 10. The higher the score, the better. Otherwise, there's a chance for developmental difficulties. So, like I said, that's something that I had heard about. So that's something I can connect on because I've now experienced what I've been reading about more. And other tests with infants and toddlers, and even preschool age children, the tests are hard with reliability and validity because of children's short attention span, and then as well as how quickly they progress through their developmental periods. They go through so quickly. There's just so much going on, with little kids. So those are some of the challenges with how reliable the tests are for young kids. And then, as well as for school-age kids, there are individual tests as well as group tests. And the reliability and validity issues there are if the test is taken in groups, how well the kids do in groups, as well as their fine motor skills for, pen and paper, pencil and paper sort of quizzes and tests. An example of identifying learning disabilities is the Bender Visual Motor Gestalt, I'm not sure how to say that, test. And I forgot to mention the Bailey Scales and Infant Development 3rd edition is a test that the younger babies and infants, toddlers, take that is hard to measure because of their short attention span, but they still take these tests just to see how everything's going. So just reading more and just learning about these tests I thought was really, really interesting. A challenge that I have is tests, how they're designed. That's definitely something new that I learned, that they choose, they go through all these different steps to become tests. So the challenge for me is that the text said that they choose the format most appropriate for the test purpose and the group tested. But that doesn't, not all tests work for everyone. Not all children do really well with the pencil and paper test because they may, a lot of them are timed, excuse me. And the text talks a little bit about it, but it's just a big issue with how, not every kid does well with the timed quizzes, but that's just such a big thing with standardized tests, especially once, they get older in the primary grades, and then even, extended on. If they have a hard time focusing, they're not going to do as well, so once again, the reliability goes down. So that is a big issue for me. Yeah, that's my challenge. So something to extend on, and that would be, once again, the standardized tests. administering the test to a sample of students that would take these tests. That's something that I didn't even, once again, think of doing, that, they do. But it makes sense because the people coming up with these tests need to see if they work. But I just never thought about that. So that really, got me thinking more about these tests. And one, like for example, they would, for like the national test, they pick a whole bunch of students all over the country with variety in ethnicity, their gender, their socioeconomic status. So just a bunch of different things that they choose, because it's going to be a big national test. So they pick a bunch of, random, which is great. And once again, it makes sense if I just never thought about it. I guess I never really thought about much about testing until reading more about it. So that is what I got out of this chapter.